Welcome to a new video, guys. Well, I haven't uploaded since a month now. Yeah, as you can see behind me, there is a lot of projects that I'm working on simultaneously. I thought building a ship was, a flying ship was a nice idea. Spoiler, it wasn't. Then I built another ship and wanted to try a new technique. Kind of failed. And then I started two other projects. The one on the right side of the screen is something that I used a 3D printer for. This video will reach you guys about at the end of the month or in June. Not really sure yet. But yeah. Without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. Yeah, and today's model is a very old Revell kit, which isn't from Revell, it's a Haswega kit, reboxed. A quadruple flag on a half track with crew. Yeah, we don't get crews that much from Revell. I mean, 1/72 scale figures are also a pain for quality. But the thing is, this kit was, I don't know where I bought it, to be honest. I have it in my collection, okay? You know, that stuff spawns in my collection. I don't know, or don't remember at least, where it comes from and where I bought it. Pretty sure I bought this one on eBay. Yeah. Anyways, it's a nice kit if you want a vintage model. If you don't want the vintage model and want a nicer kit, buy it in 35th scale. Buy the vehicle in 35th scale, get a crew from Dragon or something, an anti-aircraft gun crew, and put them on. It would be way better than building this one. I also lost one track during building, and now I found it today, before recording, and I still have managed to glue it on. Yeah, but it's there. And yeah, my extra thin glue was empty, so I had to use the Revell glue. Revell glue is nice. It builds a strong bond and melts the plastic together. Kind of the same like most other glues work, but the extra thin one you can apply from the outside and then it goes into the crevices and is pulled in. That's the difference. Both glues are good, and yeah, I will continue to use the Revell glue in the future. And here you can see the proof. Haswega, made in Japan, in a Revell box. It's a nice little thing. Didn't know that Revell also reboxed Haswega back in the day. I knew about the 1/45th scale Dragon kits that they reboxed, but, well, you always learn something new in model building. Well, the instructions give you two options in this kit. The first one is transportation, or simply driving mode. Not very interesting, also the figures don't really make sense when the vehicle is driving. You see later the figures that and what I mean. Or combat, and I choose the combat role. And after the half-track was built very fast, I mean it's doesn't have much details, it's a kind of fast assembly kit from Italy, so to say. But the A-gun is also a very quick build. There weren't magazines included in this kit, and I built it without magazines, but I don't care, it's a vintage kit, it doesn't get a good treatment. I tried drilling out the gun barrels, but let's be honest here, it's 72nd scale. It would be easier to just get metal gun barrels, heat them, and push them into the cut off parts and melt it together. Here you can see my expert Dremel 2 skills with the air gun. I tried to film it and I kind of failed. I mean, basically watching this footage now during edit mode, I can see why I don't record such stuff. Because basically I don't get it on camera. My camera adjustment is top-down perspective, and when I have to drill something out, like holes in this AA gun or like in tank guns, I have to look at it from the front. And that's something I can't really show. Except maybe one day I try to manage to get some better, well, yeah, a better phone holder, but until then I won't show it. For painting, we going to prime this model in LP18 dull red. That's a lacquer paint from Tamiya. Those paints are very thin. They are straight up ready to pour into your airbrush and spray. You can do it with the XF colors as well in the X colors, but yeah, those still need a bit of thinning, except you want a very thick coat. And this is the basic step for painting German armor since, or like mid to late war German armor. They had a red anti-rust primer, and over it the other colors were applied, like the base gray color, or then later in the mid-war the dark sand color, the dark yellow, the dunkelgelb, and or very late in the war, like the last months, only parts of dunkelgelb, because the factories didn't have enough color, and this rust safety code was integrated into camouflage. I will show you this year a few projects from the late war, or build a few late war projects that include the red primer into the camouflage, but until then we just use it as a primer and not part of a camouflage. And now for the main color we use Tamiya XF60, which is dark yellow, and it is sprayed onto the vehicle, and I have to admit I didn't really thin it down properly and didn't clean my airbrush properly. It was very thick and a very shiny coat. And since this is the Pokemon that I'm spraying, where shiny would be welcome, it is one of those models where I say, yeah, I kinda effed up here. Big time. And now for the camo. I decided to make a dark green and dark yellow camo. So basically just two colors. For the dark green I use Tamiya XF86 German Green 2, and let's be honest, it is 1/72 scale and it is a vintage kit. I could have done some masking. Masking would have really helped here, making the vehicle pop a bit more, but I was like, nah, no masking, and that's a problem. I didn't probably mask or mask at all, and now we have the issue that it doesn't look good anymore. My airbrush is spitting color out, and yeah, that's great for some 35-ish scale stuff, but I still have to try and figure it out. Maybe I need more thinner, maybe I just need a better airbrush with a better compressor to toggle my airflow and turn the PSI up or down. But for this kit, unfortunately, I don't have any of those fancy things, and it is what it is. Now let's have some fun painting the figures. Color is shown on screen. It is the AK German uniform, but the basic color for German uniforms. For FE tunic, and for the mid to late war trousers. Early war trousers were stone gray, and also the colors were in a darker green, but that's a topic for a different video when we tackle early war moddeds and uniforms. I'm going to paint the figures in this color only, and then pick out the details that we have. As I said before, 70 scale figures, they don't really have a good quality sometimes, and don't really have details. I know Italy has some good figures with good details, with pronounced details, yes, but even Italy is sometimes not the best. And buying 3D printed 70 scale figures or printing them myself is also an issue, since either you break something during removing them from their supports, or it takes ages until I can, cure them in the sunlight and then paint them. But I will try printing my own figures in the future. And after gluing the figures on, I called it good. And there you have it, guys. A lovely 1/72 scale vintage kit of a little half-track SdKfz 7/1 with a Flag 38 and its crew. Still surprised that this is a Haswega box and that they added crew to their 72nd scale V-kits. And to be honest, guys, some 72nd scale V-kits, especially open top ones, they do look nice without figures. You can make them into an abandoned vehicle on a battlefield or on the roadside, or just a museum's piece, where you can look at every little detail. But 72nd scale kits deserve more figures, in my opinion. I mean, Tamiya manages to give you figures with their 35th scale kits. Yes, the kits are expensive, and it kind of works. So give us more 72nd scale models, please, that include figures. I don't ask for much, but for this little thing, I mean, yeah, we need a full crew. But other half-tracks, like a normal SdKfz 7, yeah, just give me a driver for it. A driver that drives the vehicle, maybe a second person sitting to his left, and yeah, give us some extras for the vehicle, like some jerry cans and stuff, so it is a somewhat interesting looking half-track, and not without the empty loadie bay that we normally get, especially from Revell. But sadly, I don't have to decide what's new and what's coming in the model kit world. If that would be so, I would be very happy, and I would create very nice kits for everyone. But yeah, that's just a dream. Or just me rambling. Yeah, let's come to the pros of the kit. The pros is it's spawned in my pile of unbuilt models, otherwise known as an entire dresser in my apartment floor. And the cons really is the age. I mean, I love building vintage kits, and I do collect vintage kits. The oldest kit I have is from '63. It's a Revell kit, of course. But sometimes those kits should be either in your collection as a nice little collectible, or maybe not built with only the parts in the box, and maybe some upgrade sets would be good for it. I do have another half-track with crew and anti-aircraft gun. I bought it, I think, a few years ago, and this one actually included a P set. Of course, I'm not the best guy working with PE, you know this. Yeah, but this is something for the future. All in all, I can say this is a nice little kit that I can put somewhere on my shelf, and if you don't look too closely, you wouldn't even realize that I managed to glue one figure on the wrong place. You barely realize it without knowing. Anyways, guys, sorry for the lack of videos in the recent month. Trying my best here with more moddeds and videos, but right now I have some big projects. A flyer kit that I'm working on, 35th scale dragon kits, 2 35th scale dragon kits I'm working on actually, and one No, two more dioramas. One in 72nd scale, the other one is something 72nd to 80 scale. I don't know. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and until next time, I wish you a very nice rest of your day. Bye bye.